This is Speak Up. I am Sandra Schulte. Welcome back to our show. Today I'm very fortunate to have Henry Buell, the chairman, CEO, founder of ACE, which is the Association of Community Employment for the Homeless, and Sandra Sanchez, Director of Public Relations and Major Gifts, with us. They're going to talk about a very, very special program, and Henry is going to tell us how the program started.
Thank you for having me on the program. In 1992, I was a wedding photographer, and we had a studio on Green Street in Soho. And a bunch of us would, it was a very slow year, and a bunch of us would go out and have lunch. And we saw somebody sweeping the streets, a man sweeping the streets, and didn't pay much attention to him. When we came back from lunch almost every time, he was sound asleep in one of the doorwells. And at any rate, about a couple weeks later, one day he came up and asked to borrow $20. And I said, why should I give you $20? Because you have a job. He said, no, he just got fired. I asked what for, and he said, sleeping on the job. So I asked him who hired him, and it was a man called Tony Goldman, who had an office across the street, who was big in real estate. So I went and knocked on his door and said, asked Mr. Goldman if he was going to continue to get another street cleaner and do it. He said no. He had just bought 4 buildings in Miami, and he was going to be down there for the next 2 years. So I asked him, would you mind if I got a sweeper and cleaned this street up? And he said, not at all. And I asked him who pays his salary and what salary did he get? And he said, well, there were 12 stores between Prince Street and Spring Street that each paid $600 a year to pay his salary. So I said, would you mind if I went and talked to those stores? He said, not at all. And I did, and they all wanted to continue cleaning the streets in front of their stores. So I said, my goodness, where am I going to get a street cleaner? And my assistant at the time said there's an organization up in the Bowery called the Bowery Residents Committee. So I went up to there and knocked on the door of the executive director and asked him what he did. And he spent an hour and 15 minutes telling me what they did. And what they did was take, they took men out of jails. And they were 99.9% paid for by the government, this organization. And they had a drug rehabilitation center, alcohol rehabilitation, and a psychiatric ward. And they took the men in for 2 years, but the government wouldn't pay after that. And then, so they had to release these men. They went out and became homeless again, and started stealing or going on drugs again, and went back to jail, and they got them back. So at the end of this hour and 15 minutes, I asked the executive director, would you have a man here who might want to come down and clean a street, and if he did a good job, I will recommend him for an outside job. The executive director threw up his hands and said, hallelujah, you could be my savior. And I said, well, let's see how it goes. So I went back home, and 2 days later he called me and said he had a fellow who would like to get a job and get out of this cycle that he explained earlier. So I said, well, you'll have to wait. I'll have to get a uniform. And at the time, I called it the Soho Partnership. And I got shirts and pants and everything made up, uniforms. And and then I had to go out and buy a rolling garbage pail and brooms and everything of that sort. So the guy came down and we started about 2 weeks after he started. So 2 days after he started, I have another fellow who would like to come down and do that. So I said, well, you'll have to wait because I have to go and get another route and knock on the doors of all of the stores there and see if they'll pay to keep their street clean. Well, that worked very well. That in about 2 weeks we had another guy on the street. I had to get another Soho Partnership uniform and more brooms and more garbage pails. But in about 3 or 4 months, I had 8 people on the street all doing this with different routes. And we were cleaning almost all of Soho.
Wow.
With 8 people running from Bowery, but the Bowery down to 6th Avenue. Then I was doing this and giving them the training in myself up at the office. We would have 12, and at the time, I had very difficult questions. Should you show up for work on time? Yes or no? It was hard for them to answer that. Should you come with a clean uniform to work? Yes or no? But those were the type of questions I had. And about a year and a quarter after starting this, I said, I need help. I don't know, I'm just going by the seat of my pants here. And I hired a guy from NYU who had just graduated their social services program. And we started it and it got bigger and bigger and hired more people. And then I eventually took on, we had 7 other partnerships like Tribeca, Hudson Not Yards, Hudson Square, NoHo, 23rd Street, and others.
You became a businessman.
Well, I was before
Yeah.
the wedding photography. And so then we were being quite successful, and we were relying on donations. And at the time, the minimum wage was $4. Well, we were taking in about $250,000 in Soho alone on donations. And but we woke up one day and found it was costing us about $400,000. And we were losing money. And the reason that happened is because we had the minimum wage of $4 when I started. Now it was up to over $8. So about 75% of all our expenses are for salaries. And so now our salaries had gone way up because we pay minimum wage, and that's why we were losing money. So we decided we either have to close down everything or we have to change the way we're operating. And in 2009, we decided to change the way, to try to go out and get contracts to clean areas for money. So in 2009, we decided that. In 2010, we got our first contract of $62,345. Today, we have over $6 million in contracts. So we've grown like a top, and it's one reason that we're operating and very successful today, too, because that money, the profit we make on those contracts, goes to pay for our schooling of all our homeless people.
And the contracts are from groups of stores?
No, well, most of the contracts we work for business improvement districts. We work for parks, big parks, and the most money comes from councilmen who have a budget from the city to clean their area. So they pay us to clean their area, the councilmen. And so we have 3 different areas that are spread out. And we do, we have other contracts from the Horticultural Society to do cleanup and work for them and power wash their things for them and other things. So we have we're quite diversified right now in how we get our income. And as well as Sandra knows, because she puts on events and goes after big donors.
Yes.
And they have been going up too. That's been very successful.
Sandra, I understand that this is a very, very successful program. Not only do the people who do the work enter the program, but there's a great success rate of their staying with the program. Would you please describe the program highlights to us?
Sure. 2021 was a difficult year due to COVID. And even though it was difficult, we had over 650 participants and graduates of Project Comeback served. So we helped them because a lot of our graduates lost their jobs. We helped them get new jobs. We helped them financially to stay afloat. And 111 participants and graduates in 2021 got full-time employment.
That's 2021, the year of COVID.
Correct. 86% of the participants graduated by securing full-time employment. So they graduate from our program when they get full-time employment.
86%, my.
Yes. 67% retain employment for 1 year or more. The average hourly wage for them was $16.28. 71% of our graduates received employer-sponsored benefits,
That's
health insurance.
my God.
Yes. 35% received a wage increase in 1 year, with an average increase of $4.07.
And I think the base rate, minimum wage, what is $12? What is it?
15.
15. 55% of the 2020 graduates secured independent housing in 2021.
And that's in 2021, the year of COVID.
Correct. $135,000 earned by participants through paid experience. So while they are in our program, they also get paid 2 days for work experience, and they go out in the different boroughs of Manhattan and Queens and Bronx, different of New York, boroughs of New York, and they do sanitation work. They clean parks, they remove graffiti, they paint where necessary, so that's what they do. 100% of graduates transition off public assistance.
That is amazing. 100% of public assistance. My mouth is open.
100 full-time ACE employees who have overcome 100 of full-time ACE employees who have overcome homelessness. We have $689 each one of them, of these graduates, were able to save on a yearly basis because they learn now, finances and started saving. 256 job placements since the start of the pandemic.
Not only that, they're not wasting the money on alcohol or
Correct.
or snacks.
Right.
Well, we are a drug-free and alcohol-free, and we test them every now and then to make sure they're free of all those things.
That's how
Good.
they stay enrolled in our program.
That's very significant.
Yes, very significant. And they also attain, because a lot of them, they come in and their reading and math skills are very low, but by the time they're done, they have attained 2 grade levels on math and English and reading.
Which means they have basic reading skills.
Correct. and they actually improve because we go beyond that, because we have teachers that will teach them math, English, computer skills, and 9,000 hours of paid work experience. This
Wow.
9,000 hours is we pay the experience while they come through our programs. 3 days they are in the classroom, and 2 days they are doing work, sanitation work throughout the boroughs, and they get paid $15 an hour. So that's our success.
Now, tell us again, from which catchment group do these people that you train come from?
Well,
Go ahead, HB.
okay.
You can answer.
Well, they come from homeless shelters, drug treatment centers. They come from word of mouth, and all over. And we have somebody on staff that has to go out and recruit these people, because the turnover at these places is so great that one year they know about us and they say who wants to get a job or go into a job training program, and those people aren't there the next year. So we have to continually go out and recruit people from these different places, and it works well. We get them once we get them in a room and tell them what we do, and they like coming to us. Not everybody, because lots of people stay on drugs and don't want to come, or whatever.
But you basically get the people who have readiness or willingness.
Willingness is their desire.
Yes.
Yeah, to come and change their lives. That has to be the first step in their thinking. So they do that. Whether we'll do that, we always have a waiting line to get in now, and we're back almost up to where we were in 2019 before the pandemic hit. But it's very good. We're at any rate we're doing very well again. But we went way down. The city closed us down in 2020 for 8 months. We couldn't do anything. We did things remotely, but talking to people remotely over the television is not satisfactory. You have to be with them and ask them, see their reaction more and all that. So we did it, but it wasn't satisfactory.
But also we were limited the amount of participants that we could take into the classrooms once we opened up.
Yes.
So our classroom,
6 people.
Yes.
Yeah, it was awful.
Versus the beginning we had like 30, 40, so we were
50,
limited.
yeah. And then they started us at 6 people, and we've slowly been able to work our way up to 50 now. We're out in any given day.
30 before COVID, 6 during COVID, 50 now. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it is.
That speaks.
Yes.
How do you, so you told us how they know about your organization. You go back out and...
We go to different places, drug treatment centers,
Outpatient.
outpatients, word of mouth. Who knows? They a lot of way they hear about us.
What makes them ready to come to your organization to get employment?
Well, I think their desire to change their lives, their own desire. When I was over there in a class today, we had quite a big class going on, and I went over and taught it this morning. And one of the things I say to them is how proud I am of you in this class, because you had the desire to come and change your lives, and that's one of the things that goes on. We do so.
What are the steps that your organization does to get them ready?
They have, we'll put them through computer classes, math and English, reading skills. we computer skills. We help them counseling them through their issues, job readiness. What else we do? Financial coaching, which we have a partner with an organization, and we do this on one-to-one. Also, we have now another organization that have partnered with us that provides them with legal assistance. So all clients and graduates from ACE have legal assistance. And we also provide them with industry certifications, which we paid for, and they decide where they want to go. We provide them OSHA, janitorial, to work
Food
in a
handling.
restaurant, food handling, forklifting. So they decided where they want to go, where they think to follow their career, and then they take these classes and get certifications, and they're able to enter the workforce.
Certifications are very important. It's like a credential that they can bring to the hiring organization.
Correctly, and they are expensive. So that's, we really focus, when I'm doing my fundraising, that's one of my focus. It's that, the money that I raise goes for certifications, which is a very important.
The training program that gives them the certification.
Correct. That's correct.
Now, conflict resolution. With any job which has an employer or has employees, there's always the possibility of disagreement. How would you describe how conflict resolution is a part of your program?
It's all interpersonal related with the workforce. So we actually, we try to train them de-escalation in the workforce, how to, speak to the supervisor, how to speak with the colleagues, and
Very
how
important.
to behave in the workforce. That's how we do it.
Well, we do something that I don't think any other organization does. Once they get a job, we offer them, if they bring back their
Pay stub.
pay stub once a month, we give them $50. And when they come back, we ask them, do you like your job? Do you get along with your supervisor? Do you want to change jobs? Do you want to go into one of our classes again and change the industry you're in and all that? And that's very important. That's a very important thing. We don't take any government money directly at all. We have never, and I don't know if we will. If they offer us $1 million tomorrow, we might take it, but depends what we have to do for it. That's thing. So I don't think the government would allow us to give them $50 a month just to have them come back. But we track them. We are able to track them better than anybody else.
It is important for us because it helps us keep the statistics of our success. Because when we apply for grants with foundations, we have to provide them with the statistics. And the only way for us to do, and also to help them, because then they have the support with our counselors to talk up. I don't like this, I don't like that, I would like to change my job. And also, we are able to track that they are employed. So
Yes.
the first year we do that. Every month they come back.
Now, you told me that you do fundraisers. Every year you have a gala.
Yes. This is going to be our 30th anniversary. It's a very important year for us. And
30th
we usually,
anniversary.
excuse me?
30th anniversary.
30th, yes. And what I do, this is the biggest fundraising. I do other fundraising events as well, smaller ones, because I have formed a committee of young professionals interested in philanthropy. And we do smaller fundraisers, which we raise around 50 to 60,000. But the gala is our biggest fundraiser as it comes as
What is the
event
date
also.
of this fundraiser?
It's going to be Wednesday, October 12th at Capital. And the theme this year is going to be, we are going to try to mimic Studio 54. It's going to be called Studio 30. It's going to be great fun, dinner, entertainment, and dancing.
Now, what do you want our audience to take away with them?
What would I like them to do? Well, I would like them to think about that all these people that we are helping with our organization, they're able to return back to a normal living, having a roof over their heads, that they are off drugs, alcohol, and they have re-entered society, and they have attained their independence. And thanks to the help of all the donors and the audience and the foundations. So that's what I would like them to take with them, that by helping us, we help these individuals to be rehabilitated and re-enter society again.
And 7% of 1 year have had 1 year employment retention. That means after 1 year, they are still employed.
That's correct.
That's a terrific percentage.
Thank you.
I want to thank you so much for having come on my show.
Oh, my great pleasure. I really enjoyed it. Thank you.
And I want to thank you also, Sandra.
Thank you, Sandra.
This is Speak Up. I am Sandra Schulte. Have a wonderful, wonderful rest of the day. Goodbye.